In today's episode of the Hat and Beard Show, we've finally reached Week 18 of the NFL season. The regular season's coming to a close Sunday evening. There's not a lot of takeaways we need to discuss about the Lions' upcoming matchup against the Minnesota Vikings. I do have one quick story we're going to talk about a huge return coming back for the Detroit Lions defense. I'm Hat and Beard. This is the Hat and Beard Show. We're here to say the quiet part out loud. Let's get into it, fellas.
We're going to get up, and on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off.
Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and three toes. I will beat your ass.
All right. Hey, Guy, welcome back. Thanks for hanging out and checking in with me tonight. Coming to us from the Pride of Detroit. You guys know I love using the Pride of Detroit. With C.J. Gardner-Johnson back, the Detroit Lions will play top three safeties. C.J. G.J. Ife Melifonwu and Kirby Joseph are expected to get significant playing time with everyone healthy. That is a huge upside for Detroit, you guys. It's slated. It's looking like C.J. G.J. is going to have a full go this week against Minnesota, which is great. Okay, that's great, you guys. We'll talk about that in a second here. One of the biggest questions facing the Detroit Lions as they enter the postseason is what they will do with their secondary. These questions at outside cornerback more than a fascinating discussion surrounding the safety position. Over the past month, Ife Melifonwu has taken the defense by storm. The 2021 third-round pick replaced Tracy Walker in the starting lineup and has run with the opportunity. He really has. In 4 starts, he's had 3 sacks, 5 passes defended, two interceptions, including the big one 2 weeks ago against Minnesota that iced the game for us. And basically, that play gave us the NFC North title. He's been just outstanding on safety blitzes. I didn't realize, because, he's been a little limited in his production over the past couple of years. I didn't realize the pass rush ability this guy has. I really like what I see on the field. He's really long and lanky. He can cover a lot of territory with his speed, but also seems to have really developed this season alone with massive ball skills. And I think that is directly related to us bringing in Dre Bly as our secondary DBs coach. He was named NFC Defensive Player of the Week when he stole, there you go, the NFC North stealing interception against the Vikings. Jason McCourtney believes that he's currently a top 5 defensive back in football. That's a hell of a statement coming from a Super Bowl winning player who does know how to spot talent. Complicating things, C.J. G.J. is set to return from his torn pec. The veteran defensive back returned to practice 2 weeks ago, and he is expected to play in the regular season finale against the Vikings this week. And that is awesome. We have been waiting since week 2, hoping that maybe if we make a playoff push, C.J. G.J. could make just a momentous comeback from a torn pec. That's a hell of an injury to sustain, especially when you're an active player making as many tackles as he does. He's a real physical safety. But to get him back, and to get him back 1 week before the playoffs so that he could play his way into shape a little bit, catch himself up to speed, you guys, perfect timing for C.J. G.J., that veteran leadership, that big playability. And not only that, but it shows his dedication to the team and the work ethic, really wanting to come back and be a part of this whole thing. I know he's only here on a 1-year deal. Man, it's going to be tough trying to argue about not re-signing him unless the money's just not there, because it's a crowded safety room with Kirby Joseph and the emergence of Ife Melifonwu. Tracy Walker's really fell off. I have no problem admitting that. I like Tracy Walker, but he's really fell off. And then you, of course, have Brian Branch, who, although has been playing a lot more nickel this year than anything else, is by designation really a safety and can play the safety spot really, really well. I imagine, okay, what do we see here? Aaron Glenn, all 3 are going to play moving forward. All 3 of the guys are going to play because they're all good players. Ain't that the truth? And that's one thing we try to do as a defense, is make sure we have our best players on the field. They'll be on the field at the same time? Possibly. Will somebody be down? Possibly, but they're all going to play, and you'll see that. That is awesome. We're going to get all the ball players out on the field at the same time. I'm really excited for this return of C.J. G.J. The timing is absolutely perfect. Hopefully he can play Sunday, get a little bit of reps in, knock the rust off, get back up to speed, because the way it's shaping up, it's looking like Matt Stafford and the Rams are going to be coming to town for the first playoff game at Ford Field and the first home playoff game in Detroit since 1993. So that's a little bit of news coming out of Pride of Detroit. I hope you guys are as excited about the return of CJ GJ as I am, and then eventually Lee McNeil and James Houston to really just push our defense over that hump for a strong playoff push. Hey, my guy, if you haven't already, do me a rock-solid favor. Go ahead and like this video. If you enjoy the content, subscribe to the channel. And if you never want to miss out on anything, go ahead and ring that notification bell. That way you're always up to date on what's going around at the Hat and Beard Show. Thanks. I appreciate it, fella. So then that brings me to the Minnesota game, guys. We have the season finale coming up at home, Ford Field. We'll get a little bit of home cooking leading into the playoffs. And for the first time in a long time, we've had the division locked up. We don't have to really worry about it. But after the fiasco that happened down in Dallas, and I don't want to talk about it anymore. I'm so sick of talking about it. It just makes my blood boil thinking about it. I'm not talking about it. So what I'm really looking for us to do is to come out and set the tone for how the playoffs are going to go for the rest of the NFC. I want to see us playing with our hair on fire, like a team possessed. I want us to pretend like this is where both teams are 0-0 and this is a play-in type deal. Like you win and you're in. I want to see the absolute best. I want us to come out and smash the Minnesota Vikings with everything that we absolutely have. I would love to see an absolute beatdown so that in the third quarter, midway through the third quarter, maybe even heading into the first, you could see maybe a little bit of Teddy Bridgewater or even a Hendon Hooker sighting, you guys, because we do need to start seasoning Hendon Hooker a little bit, getting him up to speed on things, because Teddy Bridgewater a few weeks ago announced that he will be retiring at the end of this year to pursue coaching high school football, and I think that's incredibly awesome. I think that's so awesome. There's no way any of you would know this, but when I originally graduated high school, I had this urge to want to become a high school football coach. I decided to sit on couches and smoke weed instead of pursuing that avenue or really anything. That's why I'm here talking to you at midnight in my garage about the Detroit Lions. But hey, guys, so it's pretty up and down. I don't have to explain nothing to you guys about the Minnesota game. Get after the quarterback. Don't let your secondary be exposed, because the more exposure you have going into the playoffs, the more apt you are to allow teams to take advantage of that weakness. And you know, we do have a little bit of a Gambit's run coming up here against us, where we're going to have probably the Rams coming in, and that will be a tough matchup. The Rams are getting hot at the exact right time, as well as the head game of it's Matt Stafford, and it's the playoffs, and he's in an LA Rams jersey in Ford Field. That will be interesting if that is the way it shakes out. And then if we get past the Rams, then we're going to more than likely have to go back down to Detroit's personal house of horrors, and that is Jerryville, to serve up some ice-cold revenge to the Dallas Cowboys for what happened just last week, thanks to Brad Allen and his top-flight officiating. What am I looking for offensively? I'm looking for more of the same. I'm looking for Jared Goff to set himself up for a successful postseason run. I'd like to see him come out and show the entire fandom the confidence that we need to have in him. Go out there and be Jared Goff at home. Go play like your primetime Jared Goff. Lean on your run game. Really let Monty break down the defense, but don't overtire Monty. I'm telling you guys, if David Montgomery gets hurt before the playoffs, we are absolutely screwed, okay? We need David Montgomery to be healthy going into the playoffs, so maybe keep him on a pitch count. Maybe don't let him touch the ball more than 12 to 15 times at most, and then let Jahmyr Gibbs come in and do Jahmyr Gibbs things. Really let the media salivate over his big playability and continue to season him, because he is special. He's very special and should be a focal point of our offense for many years moving forward. Obviously, protect Sam Laporta, protect Jared Goff, protect Amon-Ra. Maybe get Amon-Ra a couple of routes. Maybe let him do his thing. He's a little upset about being bumped from the Pro Bowl, and I don't blame him. He's been hot all season long, tied for first in the league with 8 games over 100 yards, quietly amassing 8 games over 100 yards. And then the rest of his games are relatively quiet as well. He's just this down-to-earth guy who's going to come on and just do the work for you. But again, like I said in the last video, that's why he got snubbed from the Pro Bowl, because he's not a big flash-in-the-pan type dude like J-Mo will eventually be. Maybe let J-Mo take a blow on this game. We know he's a little dinged up after last game. Who knows how that foot's doing, and he is starting to maybe get a little bit of an injury bug designation going on with this guy. Again, the first half of the season wasn't necessarily his fault because or injury's fault. It was his fault, but not injury's fault because of the gambling situation where he was suspended. And then, of course, his rookie year, he tore his ACL in the national title game, but there's nothing you can really do about that. You just start to see these things start to tick up, and I know that a lot of people are kind of off the JMO bandwagon. I am very milquetoast when it comes to JMO. I'd like to see JMO succeed in Detroit, but at the same time, if the right opportunity comes around and the offer is too good of a deal for Brad Holmes to pass up, yeah, you're going to have to trade that guy. So, consistency on offense, play complementary football. Use this game as a get-right polishing game. This is the last chance you have. This is the last chance you have to screw up and lose a game before your season's completely done, okay? There is no more next weeks after this. There is this week and this week only, and you're fighting to survive into the following week. So really polish things down, hone everything out, get it all polished up good, get ready to rock and roll for a nice, strong playoff push because we have the potential. We have the potential, and all the pieces are starting to come back at the right time. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Lee McNeil, James Houston. Things can shape up for us. Our defense could take a small step into the playoffs, which would be a monumental step for our defense, just enough to maybe get us over the hump and push us into an NFC title game. If there's anything I forgot to talk about, anything you guys want to add to the conversation, please go ahead and comment down below. I like engaging with the community. Share this video around if you haven't already. That's pretty much it. That's going to do it for me, guys. That's going to do it for me for this week. Let me know, did you enjoy the multiple uploads this week? I'm trying to utilize this time to not booze so much on school nights. Let's be honest, I have a bit of a drinking problem from time to time, and this is a good way of curbing that. So, stay out of trouble. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Keep your stick on the ice. If he doesn't find you handsome, at least she'll find you handy. I've been Hat and Beard. You've been an attentive audience. Have a good weekend, guys. We'll see you Monday. Frig off.